15 years old, driving like a 40-year-old at the moment. Lots of experience, it seems like, for such a young kid.
McAdam and Brooke have the front row, bit of experience there. Luke King, he's also a third-year competitor in this category alongside Robotham. How will he go off row 2? Walton's looking good this weekend and he's pretty much debuted to the category alongside Adam Gowans. Chris Pither has been moving forward. He'll start outside row 5. Keep an eye out for number 11, Zane Morse, ex-Formula 4 driver. He started 38th in the last race and finished 16th. That's not a bad effort, passing 22 cars in 10 laps. Declan Fraser will start alongside Leanne Tander. Leanne's got plenty of experience at this circuit and in these cars. Brock Feeney all the way back down through the pack, unfortunately has some work to do here. One of 3 15-year-olds in this field. John Iafola's pretty quick. Be entertaining watching he move through the field. And Declan Fraser, well, the kettle is boiled, it would look like, for the 777. He's got the indicator on. I wonder if he's even going to make the start here. This could delay the start. Not too sure how they'll play this one in race control. Looks like we're going to go racing, Andy. Final race of the weekend. Can McAdam get the clean sweep? Hopefully Declan Fraser's car gets off the grid. Toyota 86 Racing Series, it's go. Fraser is slow to move. There's a puff of smoke in the background, but it looks like we've got these cars going down towards turn 1. Just over 300 metres of racetrack to separate the front row and turn 1, and it's McAdam again getting another very clean start.
Yeah, and while McAdam has departed and left everybody else in his wake, I was just keeping an eye on the wounded Fraser there to make sure that nobody made contact with that car as he was taking off quite slowly. So looks like, I was going to say, it looks like he's just pulling over to the left. There we go. That's probably the smartest thing to do.
What a shame for Declan. And the Red Hot Couriers Mackay entry is going to pull off now. To be a really hard task to find a good spot to park that car, especially for a driver who's only 16 years of age. Meanwhile, at turn 4, McAdam, clean lead, looking as strong as he was in race 1. Can Tim Brooke run with him? He sits in second. Luke King in third. King looked really strong late in race 2. He's sitting there in P3 at the moment in the Actron Air entry. Siberia now. Turns 5, 6. Fast exit to this corner. You run up towards turn 7 and turn 8, the famous hay shed. Over the Dunlop curb cam.
Such a great shot.
Wow, that's what 37 Toyota 86s look like at speed, and unfortunately for Declan Fraser, he didn't quite make it that far around. Hopefully that's far enough out of the field of play to continue on with the action.
Taking the Red Hot Courier sponsorship to new levels there. I shouldn't make jokes of it. A lot of effort goes into getting these cars to the circuit, so that's disappointing there for Fraser.
Did race at the Bathurst 6 Hour in a Toyota 86, shared with Gav Reynolds. Unfortunately, the first round for his weekend. Off to a bad start. That's wide and into the gravel.
Baxter Smith again out in the gravel.
Could be a good pickup, Andy.
Looks a little like his car. We know we've spent a bit of time out there.
Continues on, I think you're right. Gets it back onto the surface. So at the moment, we're still green. It's on at turn 1. A couple going wide. This could end badly.
Looks like Robotham as well.
It is too. Good pickup. He gets it back on. Good car control from the 15-year-old. He was in the grass, had a huge slide, gathered it back up. There's no question of his commitment. Exciting stuff. Let's go down to the pits with Cameron.
Just quickly on Declan Fraser, guys. That's actually a borrowed engine from Aaron Cameron in that car. They think it might be a split oil cooler, which happened as a result of contact during race earlier today.
Thank you very much for that one, Cameron. Hopefully it hasn't left too much oil on the circuit then. The good news is that car is far enough away from the circuit that we can continue. So Declan's done a really good job to pull that car up in a safe spot.
How was that battle going on through turn 1 there? Robotham was way too wide. He was trying to hang on the outside. It just goes to show that you need both guys to come to the party with respect to be able to pull a move like that off. And unfortunately, in this instance, Robotham was left a little bit too wide.
Chris Pither was happy with that, given the shuckers as he was going through the hay shed. So there's the big smoky trail from Declan Fraser's 777. Cam getting to the bottom of that one, split oil filter. And it's really erupted down at the southern loop. Not a lot that poor Declan could do about that. The young man from Mackay is a DNF. How's this moment through the gravel trap? Yeehaw. Kane Baxter Smith keeping in it. Getting back onto the circuit. That is a wild slide.
He's had a few of those this weekend, hasn't he? Not so much out of that final corner, but definitely down at turn 2. And then there was this one here with Rowbotham, just on the outside of Carroll. We know that Carroll's got huge commitment in that car, but he just pushed Rowbotham wide. Look at this, both guys, rear of the car sliding across the road. Rowbotham staying into it. Carroll slowing down a little bit, but we always hold our breath when the cars come back on at turn 2 there, don't we? Especially when there's a big hungry pack arriving also at the same time.
He's under pressure here from Jake Klein, who gets up the inside at turn 2. Pither wants to run with these guys as well. He's getting faster and faster across the weekend, Chris Pither. Well, that's right on board with him.
Oh, good timing.
Yeah.
Little mischief there for Chris Pither. So that shows how important the clutch is. We heard that Rowbotham had that clutch issue there when Chris missed the shift. It's not a synchro box in these cars, so you do need to use the clutch to be able to shift across the gears.
Dylan Thomas in that fight, very experienced. He's side by side now with Rowbotham. Pither putting the pressure on Jake Klein. George Gutierrez going along with that fight as well. Haven't seen too much of him this weekend, but moving quietly up towards the top 10. Great battle pack, this one. Also includes Cameron Crick, who topped the practice session. And he's side by side with Rowbotham. Both sponsored by local Toyota dealerships, Clinton's Toyota and Melbourne City Toyota. And it's a great outlet for dealerships to get behind some of the young drivers. We saw that with Cam Hill, based out of the ACT in the last couple of seasons. It's Ben Bryce in the Penrite entry. Up the inside, down at turn 10. Clean battle, this one. Frantic battle with about 12 cars involved.
I keep talking it up, but I'm just so impressed with the spatial awareness from some of these young kids just racing in these tight-knit little packs. Look at this one. We've got over 10 cars in this pack here, and sometimes we're seeing them go 2, 3 wide, and you've just got to know where to place the car, not only so that you don't trip over each other, but to make sure that you've got momentum when you get off the corner, so you're not losing position. So there's a lot going on here. You've got to put a lot of thought into where you're placing your car and how you're driving it.
How about this light for Baxter Smith? Still got gravel coming out of the right rear of that car. Oh, that's a nervous spot to be sitting sideways. He gathered it back up nicely. Meanwhile, down at turn 1, way! That's the Cameron McConville line through turn 1. Hopefully James Wilkins gets that car back towards the playing arena. Just avoid the microphones down there in between turns 1 and 3. And how about this moment? Luke Vanner was right in the heat of that action too.
So he was trying to get the move done on Vanner, braking very, very late there.
He nearly drove straight into that microphone. Caught his attention at the last second. Last thing he was expecting to see when he was about 200 metres away from the racetrack.
Quite a big drop-off down there too, so that's why those arrows were pointing him to the right. Good move there, Wilkins.
I saw him out at dinner last night with his family. It's the Pino's restaurant, which is a bit of an icon here. They love their motorcycle racing. You can go and check that out with all the old leathers from different MotoGP riders in the history here that have raced at Phillip Island. So much history on this island.
Why did we end up there last night? Because we saw the little story that the Nissan team did making pizzas at Pino's. Thankfully, none of those pizzas made it on the menu last night, and they were all delicious.
Here's Tim Brook in the McLaren Real Estate MacArthur entry. He's been in this front battle pack all weekend long. He's sitting second on points for the round. He's got his family cheering him on. We're hearing that Nick Carroll is headed to pit lane this time by for a drive-through penalty, the first of the season. This is nice stuff, as Pither has a good run on the Aussie Driver Search entry of Jake Klein, but decides to not push the issue at turn 1. So that drive-through for Carroll is for pushing Rowbotham wide at turn 1, which we saw earlier. Rowbotham on the back of this pack, trying the Scott McLaughlin line on the inside at turn 2.
Always tough being a driving standards advisor in a category like this where the racing is so close, but I like that they've just stamped out any of that sort of racing. You just cannot push somebody off the road. You've got to give them racing room, and so anytime we see it, come down hard on it, very quickly that will stamp it out.
That is Greg Crick, who is the driving standards advisor. Jason Bargwiner is a permanent mentor in this category as well. And they'll be watching those battles. It's not just a matter of slapping them on the wrist. They'll try and teach them as well why they went wrong in a scenario like that.
Yeah, and it's a good system that I think you don't want to just say, here's your penalty, work it out yourself. You're better if you can explain that penalty, particularly in a learning category like this. Give the drivers an opportunity to understand why they got the penalty and really school them on how not to do it again. So I don't always agree with the stewards' decisions, but in this case, I think it's the right thing to do.
It's on here at turn 10. Rowbotham up the inside, gets the job done on Dylan Thomas. That's a nice move. He's in this fight now behind Cameron Crick. Crick following the car that we're riding on board with. Chris Pither set for an endurance campaign with Gary Rogers Motorsport this year. He's doing a full season of Dunlop Super 2 as well. And a couple of appearances with the Toyota 86 Racing Series. Oh, how about this move? Wow, Klein was really tardy off the last corner and they're all going to jump on him down the Wayne Gardner front straight.
I'm just trying to look there to see whether Klein had a moment and had to lift, and that's what hurt his momentum, or whether or not he's got an issue in that car.
Crick was the big benefactor there. He picked up 2 on the front straight, including Pither.
So looking at it, Klein's back up to speed, so you just missed it from the onboard with Pither, but I can't help but feel like he's had a bit of a momentum shift there. The rear of the car lost it and had to come out of the throttle, and that just absolutely hurt his run down the straight. Iafola on the inside here. A little bit of rubbing from Leanne to say, hey, don't move over on me. So that's Morse code between the racing drivers out there. Iafola trying to make his way back through the field. Started pretty deep buried into the pack. A little over and under. Did he get the job done on Leanne? Yes, he has. So press on.
Trent Gribble in this battle pack as well. Not been a great weekend for Trent in car 74. The Sydney sider, slow to get going, but was so quick in practice. Typically goes quite well here. Here's this run on the front straight again. Hard to really pick what happened to Jake Klein there, but it definitely cost Pither some momentum. And then Crick was definitely going to make the most of that little scenario. Picked up 2 spots.
Just looked like he turned in too wide, and he was just half a car width too wide. Here we go, this will tell the story. So what's happened here? Yeah, he's just turned in pretty wide, got to the apex. It was only that little bobble there. It's weird.
Lost so much momentum as a result.
Yeah, that's strange. Very strange.
Potentially playing with the indicators then. I think he even waved car 7 through then, Chris Pither. We go back now to Pither, who's side by side with Rowbotham and Dylan Thomas getting the double toe. Good slipstream action. On board with Pither. You can even see Thomas in the mirrors. That's very cool, and Rowbotham slides through.
And you could see Chris there looking over his right shoulder in the mirror, because what he didn't want to do was try and make a hole to fire in behind Rowbotham. Oh, Rowbotham lost the rear.
Big slide mid-corner. He's been pushing so hard this weekend. You only get 1 set of Dunlop Dureza tyres. Won't be surprised if Rowbotham's tyres are feeling pretty old right now.
We've seen him hang on the outside very comfortably all weekend, so he's not going to give this one up that easy.
Doesn't go back the high line, does he?
I'll go back to my reference there of Chris Pither, because he's trying to do it now. He's looking over that right shoulder. Where's my gap? How do I get back in here so I don't keep losing more and more spots? And that's where that racecraft really comes in that I was talking about earlier. You've got to be thinking not only forward, but back, side, everywhere.
Planning ahead. It's actually in the code of conduct for these young drivers. Plan ahead. It's such an easy thing to think about. Maybe not so much when you're doing 200 kilometres per hour around the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Remember, a lot of these drivers making their car racing debuts this weekend out of go-karts. Thomas again, sliding out and down the hill, side by side with Gutierrez. A little bit of a bump between these two. Gutierrez coming out of the V8 Ute Series in the last couple of seasons. Benny Grice wants a piece of this action too. Sporting an unusual haircut and moustache combination this weekend, Ben Grice. Fairly colourful character, just like his dad. He moves on through nicely there on Dylan Thomas.
So look at that, Thomas. He was
the aggressor.
Very quickly went from being on the offensive to the defensive. Went to try to gain a spot, but ended up losing one. And that's what happens when you're in these packs. Now he's trying to get it back on grass.
Last lap here. Cam Walton's put together a really nice weekend with the front pack. This is the fight for second between King, Gowans, Brook, Walton. It's been a bit of action here. Brook looks like being second on points for the round still. King and Robotham will be equal third for the overall points, unless there's a late change here. If you look really closely at car 34, you might notice something funny on the dash on the passenger side.
Geez, your eyes are better than mine at this point.
Here you go. See if you can pick it up, Andy, as it comes out of here.
Oh, there it is.
Something unusual. They've got a tippy cup.
Is that because of you noticed that, mate?
It's part of my world now, isn't it?
You dad see tippy cups everywhere.
He does have, there it is on the dash. He does have the family cheering him on this weekend, but the team assure me it's because he likes to spit the dummy occasionally, so they've stuck that to the dash to remind him to remain calm at all times.
That's very well played. I thought they might have been doing some testing on how those
you drive a drink bottle.
Sippy cups seal up, because in my experience they leak a lot. So I wonder whether that one started with fluid in it, and they're going to see if they can get the full race without losing a drop.
This guy has been absolutely marvellous this weekend. Liam McAdam has had a couple attempts at this championship, and it might be his year in 2018. Oh, so strong. Perfect 300 points for Liam McAdam, and the 20-year-old Queenslander starts his campaign in the perfect way. Congratulations, 3 from 3. King just home for second. What a fight between Gowans, Brook and Walton. The top 5 cars home, but nobody could touch Liam McAdam. 2 seconds clear of the field, cruised around, pretty much completed a Grand Slam pole, 3 race wins, fastest lap of this race. And that is an incredible way to start season 2018.
And in any category, to come and have a pole and win all 3 races is remarkable. But in a one-mate category where everybody is in very equal equipment, that is very, very impressive. Well done, Liam McAdam.
And a championship that is worth 100 points per race. He has a 52-point championship lead after the first round. That is a strong outing for Liam McAdam. Ahead of Luke King, who was getting quicker and quicker across the weekend. Adam Gowan's always strong in national level racing. Tim Brook will be right there in the points as well. He'll leave here P2. Great start for Cam Walton, one of the rookies in this championship. Cam Crick, we always know, is quick. Still got some work to do. Jalen Robotham, 7th in this race, but he's ticked a huge box this weekend. Definitely a star to watch out for moving forward. Some strange names like Trent Grubel and David Cedars. We were expecting to see them maybe a little bit higher this weekend, not the start of the championship that they would have wanted. Gav Reynolds rounds out our field, and he'll be looking forward to his home race at the end of the championship, which is Newcastle. Declan Fraser couldn't quite get going. We didn't see Fabry or Hayden Clark